I was having full conversations in the backyard of this rehab with nobody. There's a dog there I thought that was there that wasn't there. I was talking on a TV remote thinking it was a phone. I mean, and they were basically watching me. And I know somebody that came in the day that I came into rehab. She was really young. She's like 17, and I see her in meetings still. And she was like, it was wild because everybody there was kind of following you around.
To make sure you didn't.
Yeah, and they were like, don't tell them that that's not a phone, like, and so then in the middle of the night, they found me naked, like in the backyard of the rehab, seizuring, and so they rushed me to the hospital because at that point they weren't equipped to keep me comfortable and alive.
So, Nick Thune, Missionary. Let's just take it away. So we're supposed to be talking about sobriety, and we will get there. But first, I didn't know you were a man of the cloth.
Yeah, I love cloth, and I grew up. Well, I got sober when I was 17. I got thrown into rehab.
Why?
Just for being a kid that likes to have a good time. I was drinking at school. I mean, that's why I got expelled. For that and a fight that I got in off campus, but like, I was definitely a life. I won. Like when I got out of rehab and went back to high school.
I feel like they're coming to get you right now. What is it, guys? Please, he's recovered.
There, just want to check my heart.
Yeah.
When I got out of rehab and went back to school the next year, when I was like very sober and found God and all of this stuff.
So you bought it. You weren't like, I'm just going to pretend I'm sober in order to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, that's what I first thought.
And then when did you see the light?
It just hit me. But the thing about it not being normal is what hit me. Like the thing about it's not normal that I brought a Snapple bottle to school with alcohol. It's not normal that I got into a fight even. I mean, yeah, sure, kids get in fights, but that wasn't normal.
Nick, why were you hitting it so hard?
I don't know. It's funny, people like
If you say people always ask you that, then I'm going to move on to the next question.
Oh, no.
Because I hate when people say, oh yeah, I always get asked that question.
No. No one asks. I mean, I think people always ask alcoholics that question. They ask alcoholics kind of have that. And I mean, honestly, I just didn't know any other way to do anything. I don't know how to open a box of Wheat Thins and just eat 2 of them. Yeah. Like I'm going to eat the whole box.
Yep. It's how we're wired.
Sorry, everyone. Yeah. Just don't give me stuff.
Right, and don't get near my freaking mouth if I've got some Wheat Thins going.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Triscuits I can't make it through. That's just too dry.
No. But why do people like Triscuits?
I love them.
You?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll eat all of it
You'll
as
eat
well.
all of it.
Yeah, I eat all of everything that people give me.
I know. We have no off switch.
I know people are like, when we go to dinner, like, do you want to share something? It's like, no, well, let's just get 2 of that thing because I'm actually already planned to eat my whole portion.
Right.
So,
and part of yours, so back off.
Yeah, since you're only going to have half, we can... I'll take the rest of that.
100%. I asked the question because I'm a little actually at the moment personally disturbed because no matter what you tee up, like, hey, Kat, let's go hit the links and play golf, whatever, or let's, go to 42nd Street and take in a peep show. Not that we would do that. That's gross. But
did you choose 2 things you don't ever do, golf and peep shows?
How do you know I don't do peep shows?
Like somebody came up to me and they said, hey, let's go get into a croquet tournament. I
know, it's so funny. There are like a million things I do all the time. But even croquet, I'm like, that sounds lovely.
It's like, just catch a game of cricket. And I think alcohol.
Totally. But yes, though, that is the thing. Like literally, any situation still 11 years in.
Yeah.
Still, I'm like, great. That would be so much fun with a gin and tonic. But the point is, I used to think I was just born an alcoholic and it's how I'm wired and there's nothing deeper and that's that. And I was like so cool with that. But now about only like 10 years into sobriety, did I start to see what I was masking. And I am not saying that was your case. I'm just saying I've really gained a different appreciation for why I was a drinker the longer I stay sober. So I'm wondering why you think you were.
I can track all of my things. I feel like I can. I can really think about like, why am I sensitive to sound? Why was I never able to do homework? Why did I fail all of my classes? Like, why did I immediately start drinking all of the alcohol that was in front of me? And I just think that it goes down to an insecure kid that, like I think I got my parents, we moved at a pretty crucial time.
How old were you?
6, like just up to Seattle. And I remember like kind of getting introduced to this classroom. And I remember like walking in and the teacher's like, Nicholas Thune. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, oh, we're going to call you Nick because there's already another Nicholas in here. And that was like my first, like, we're actually changing your name.
Right.
You moved here to Seattle. We're changing your name. My mom tried to call the school, like, his name is Nicholas. And they were like, it's too late.
It's not.
Yeah, they're already calling him Nick. Oh. But I think that I had this kind of, there was a hole in me that I know happened at some point, and I don't like.
It happened, or you came with the Hulk?
I think there's a place where we can all have it, and I think that I didn't fill it. You know, I mean, I'm not like, I don't know that medically, but I do feel like there, you know, we kind of show up and it's like, all right, you're here and you're available to accept all of the things that are around you. Your love, noise, anxiety, all the things that your parents are pushing out and doing. And I think that at that point in maybe my parents' life and that point in my life, I think that what I caught was stress. We don't have money. We're going to lose our house. We're going to move, you know, like all this stuff. And I think that anxiety, and I don't know. Again, I really don't know the answer to all this, but as I try and piece things apart, and I'm not nostalgic in the sense, and I don't dwell too much on the past, and I try not to even think about what's going to happen in 5 or 10 minutes, but
something really great's happening in 5 minutes, so stick around.
But you know, I have kind of thought through all that stuff, and I mean, I just remember like watching when I was really bad, watching TV and seeing like ESPN or the news and being like, how are they sober? Like, how is that person right now? How do they not like sneak a few drinks and have like a water bottle under them that has straight vodka in it?
Right.
Because that's what I had. I mean, I was driving down the street, reaching under my back seat to grab a fifth of vodka and just kneeing the steering wheel and downing it like a guy that was thirsty and found some Gatorade.
Boy,
and then vomiting.
Just so you can make room to do it again.
Yeah, and the vomiting really started to kind of pile up towards the end, but yeah, I kind of held it together for a while.
You know, we've only just met, but you are exactly the kind of alcoholic I love, because I feel that gnarly and have lived that gnarly, and it's gross, man. I mean, I find my actions of the past to have been gross, and that urge for me is so gritty and disgusting, and I would drink out of a shoe if I had to. And so anyway, I sense that we are
people do that now. People do drink out of shoes.
That's a thing?
They call it a shoey.
No, that's not true.
They do. They take their shoe off, they pour a full beer in it, and then they that's a real thing.
Well, we should go back to drinking.
And those people, I would actually say the people that do that aren't alcoholics.
No, they're morons.
They're just normal people that are like, I guess I'll try a shoe thing. Whereas like an alcoholic's like, while you guys are doing that, I'm going to sneak 5 shots at the bar. And they come back like, I'm just having a beer like you guys too.
Yeah, because we're real alcoholics.
Yeah, well, that was my thing though. Like I would go to, everywhere I went, I was drinking more than everybody knew.
Yeah.
And presenting as if I was just casually having a glass of wine.
I mean, you'd pre-gamed for hours ahead.
Yeah, but also, like, the feeling of going into someone's kitchen when you're at the house and everyone's in, and I saw where they put their alcohol, and now we're all in the backyard or we're all in the other room. I'll be like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I would be like sneaking shots out of just any booze, and somehow nobody ever walked in on me. My wife did, my ex-wife did. This is when she left me that same night. Just kidding.
No, God.
She walked in on me a couple times. Also, one of the times that she caught me was a red light camera. I came home once and there was just like, you know, in LA if you run a red light at certain places, there's a photo of you and it gets sent to the...
Which isn't creepy or big brothery at all.
No, but if there were to be like a Wikipedia page for what being drunk looks like, they would take that photo of me with one eye at a red light at like 2 a.m. in LA. Like, No one has looked more drunk. She didn't have to ask, were you drunk?
Right. There was no.
She just said, this is unacceptable.
I'm so sorry that was your reality, and I'm really happy you made it home safely that night.
I don't know. Who knows? This might be the aftermath of that. This could be a whole.
Shit.
This is the afterlife.
Yeah. God, please. Listen, I have stopped down these interviews before to thank God or whatever you believe in, that, and I'm assuming here, you didn't hurt anybody while you were driving. You didn't hurt yourself. The thing that sends ice water through my veins more than any of the dumb shit is the driving. The driving in LA is just a breeding ground. I mean, now with Uber, it's different. I went to high school in LA and we were all drinking and driving.
And that's the thing about having my son, because I got sober when my son was 5, and like constantly finding excuses why I couldn't drive.
Yep.
Because that somehow is like the place where I was really drawing the line, was like my son's life.
Well, thank God. Because if you didn't, then really we're in trouble. Okay, wait, so let's go back. So you're 17, you're stuck in Oregon, and you see the light.
Yeah, I just saw that. I saw that it wasn't normal. I remember thinking like, this wasn't an accident that I'm sitting here in rehab. This isn't normal. Like, normal people don't end up in a lockdown rehab in Central Oregon. There must be something to this.
Well, but some people say it was my parents. They're nuts. They shouldn't have put me here. But you actually were like, it's me.
Well, yeah, the amount of kids that parents put into rehab that don't need to go there is probably under 0.00%. Like, it's not there's a reason. Like, a good kid and that's being honest and living, like, their parents aren't going to be like, you got a bad grade, we're throwing you into rehab. It's like, no.
Yep.
And believe me, I've seen the kids in rehab. It's like a repeat offense thing that they're just, it's hard.
It's ugly. Okay, so you're there, you see this isn't normal, you don't blame your parents, you get clean and sober.
And I left and I found God pretty quickly. Because I'd already been going to church. My parents had already been putting me into church. And I loved church.
Which church?
It was just like a non-denominational Christian, like, like maybe like 4 people would stand and raise their hand during a worship song. And everyone would be like, oh, God, look at this guy. Guy's really putting a show on. It wasn't like like Episcopal. It wasn't like people like running up and down the aisle. It was a very like
Unitarians almost.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know which ones do that. I just know like maybe method. I just know that there's more animated Christians, and then there's the Christians that are just like, I truly believe, but like I can't really.
Like American Gothic. Like
I'm not going to do that. Yeah, gotcha. But yeah.
So okay, so you found God.
Found church.
And you legitimately were proselytizing.
Yeah, and I liked it because, first of all, it kind of fixed the attention thing for me. Like, now I'm the kid that got saved. And so everybody wants to talk to me, and everybody wants to hear my story. Mm-hmm. Nick's going to talk. Like, this was a lot of my first public speaking experiences was at church, sharing my story. Then they would have me like making announcements. Like I wasn't involved in leadership, but they wanted to give me things to keep me and like to like kind of utilize this guy that's obviously like talented at something.
Yeah. We
don't know what. So I would be the guy that makes announcements.
Great.
And the announcements were like, hey guys, can't park in this parking lot. You got to park in the other one.
And were you throwing in one-liners? Like, was this the beginning of your comedy career?
Oh yeah, no, I was immediately, and I would always like end on something like, and if anybody wants to talk after the service today, I'm Pastor Nick, and I would walk off, and they would come and be like, he's not a pastor. You actually shouldn't talk to him.
Do you think Jesus was a stand-up? Like, do you think he was really funny, and that's what kept people hanging around?
I bet he wasn't funny.
You think?
I mean,
why did all those people hang around? Because it's the funny that keeps you.
It is the funny that keeps you, but also it's the listening that keeps you. And
I'm sorry, what?
Like, well, I can't hear most things, but I hear too because I'm trying to not hear really.
No, but listen, we're both over 40. My hearing, I feel like, has just been taking a dive. It's like all the years in bands and clubs. Is that what it is?
My sight is really going harder.
What happened? Same. The other day I was like, oh, I got to put my contacts in. They're in.
The other day I was like, oh, I'm going to enlarge the font on my phone. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I don't care what people think.
Even if they laugh at us at the,
You know what I did though is because you can get like a screen on your phone that you can't see your phone from certain angles.
Yep.
And I got it just because I don't want people to see that I enlarged my font.
We're old. We're old. Okay, wait. So so what happened? So this
yeah.
you're preaching. You're doing the stuff. And how long is that sober stretch?
My sober, thank you. That was about 12 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
12 years of no alcohol. And I did like start to, I mean, and I am a, like, you know, like I don't do drugs or anything. I don't take anything that would be addictive but I did like start to smoke a little bit of weed. And I think because I was really like, alcohol was my problem.
Yeah.
But then when I relapsed, it wasn't just like a couple years after I started drinking, it was day one.
Okay, so it's 12 years into your sobriety,
Yeah.
and you wake up one day, it's like a Wednesday, and you think, today's the day, or what
Well, I was
happened?
flying to Vegas to do a show, and I thought, when I land, I'm going to get a drink. And so
Because you were feeling strong.
no, because I just was like, I can do this. I'm like responsible. I've changed my life. I have a career. I did all the things that I never thought I would ever do.
Okay.
I never thought I would make more than a teacher's salary, like growing up, and I was okay with that. And I really was, and I still don't, money is not a thing that I care too much about, but like I was like, I'm fine. I'm like living, and I landed in Vegas and I got a beer, and then I was like, I want to try Absinthe.
Wow, you just went to it.
Yeah, because Mitch Hedberg, my favorite comedian, had a joke about absinthe, and I was like, I want to try this thing. And so I went to the bar and ordered some absinthe drink at the pool, and it was like basically like a Long Island iced tea. It was just like a lot of alcohol with a mixer, and I took it out to my room, and I had shows that night at the casino that I was staying at, and the next thing I know, in my room, I wake up to the door just being pounded on. And my show started a half hour ago, and I'm passed out on my bed.
Nick Thune, that makes me so sad.
Second drink.
Wow.
And then I went home. This is the funny part, is I went home because I was married at the time, and I didn't tell my wife. And then
How's the show, babe?
oh, great, everything's great. Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
slayed?
You know what? Yeah, you know what I was thinking? I've been doing a lot of thinking. I think I could have a drink.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Let's go out and have Mexican. And so like that week, I like presented, like started kind of. I think I just want to have, I want to be able to have a drink with you guys. And
Was she like, cool, man? Yeah, I think you can handle it.
she was like, if it's a problem, I'm going to say something and you have to stop. And I was like, oh, of course.
Had she known you as a drinker?
She didn't know me as a drinker. She knew me as sober, and
Ooh.
she didn't like it. She knew. I mean, anybody that meets me can tell like which direction it would go, I think.
Okay.
And it's a fun one, but for the people around me, I think, yeah.
Okay, until it's not, I guess.
No, to a certain point.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm only gleaning that because you keep saying ex-wife, so I'm assuming it stopped being fun.
Yes. Also just life, life comes and goes, and
Relationships are really hard.
oh my God.
Yeah. Not ours, babe.
No.
My husband's right there, and our relationship is not hard.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah.
I could tell you guys probably never had any fights or anything.
Not us. You loser, you had fights. No, okay, sorry. Did you?
I know, I failed, but
You did not. By the way, marriage is really, really
it's
hard.
How long have you been married?
We've been married. We're coming up on 22 years. 22 years. And actually, I just came back from LA where my parents were celebrating their 60th.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
oh my God, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work and it takes luck. I think really it takes luck. It takes luck that you grow together. Sorry, you didn't ask
Yeah.
my thoughts.
But it does. You guys have kids?
We do have two. Yep. Boys.
That makes me surprised that you're still married. I don't know how anyone that has kids stays married.
Stays married.
It's just so hard. It's parenting styles and, like.
Yeah. Well, that's where the luck comes in. If you
Yeah.
happen to have complementary parenting styles.
Yes.
Right.
That, and also you can allow your partner to have a break.
Yes.
without a guilt
Spell
trip.
each other. Yes.
That is where I feel like most things start going. It's like somebody is working harder than the other, and it starts to become an uneven thing, and then this person knows it and this person knows it, but I'm not going to say anything, and I'm working hard. I'm going to,
Yeah. Well, and you were on the road, so that's also
Always,
an
yeah.
added element
So
of
hard.
fuckery. Yeah.
So hard.
So, okay, so
And I was an alcoholic.
right. Well, there's that. It does get in the way of things. Well, frankly, not just because he's sitting here, but
Mm-hmm.
hats off to that person for sticking with me through my alcoholism. And I mean, that's another big part of the luck, right?
Yeah.
Like he could have rightfully been like, I'm out. And didn't, and thank God, and it gave me a chance to get sober and enjoy our life now. So it's but it's not easy. The worst is when people say, "Oh, Kat, he's so great for sticking with you through all that." I'm like, I can say that, but don't act like it's a hardship post.
Yeah.
I'm fucking awesome. Anyway, so
It's good. Yeah,
but back
you got
to
to
you.
know that. Yeah.
But back to you. Okay, so you're sober 12 years. You go to Vegas. Absinthe happens,
Yeah.
and then
Absinthe.
how long until?
A good 10-year, about 10-year run.
And were people around you being like, "Hey, man, remember you, the sober guy?"
Towards the end. It's really towards the end. I think people, somebody that does what I do for a living, and I'm really good at selling things to people and like selling that I'm okay and selling that things are great. And, oh, you saw this? Yeah, I'm hungover, but it was just, we had, but I was the guy that people would, first of all, girlfriends and wives, after one night of their husband or boyfriend going out with me, would be like, you can't go out,
Over
Nick,
again, right?
in the week, especially on weekdays,
Right.
Because like it's not normal to come home at 4. And it's like, but Nick took me to a studio after his show, and and because that was my whole life, was like performing and being out at nightclubs and stuff, and it's fun.
Yeah, it's really
And it's fun, and it's really hard to kind of keep that, even it. It's like in alcoholics or in anybody are trying to kind of keep this even, like, like when like an old car has a steering wheel and you're like constantly trying to figure out where the edges are, and you're like, you like, it's got like about 2 inches of wiggle room where it hits the thing.
Right.
It's like you're trying to constantly keep it right in the middle of that.
Ugh, yeah, and we're like so good at convincing ourselves, like, this time I'm gonna get it. This time I'm gonna have it down the middle. And yeah, I hear that. So okay, so now you're 10 years into this drinking. Your wife became an ex-wife at which part in that 10 years?
At the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did that get you sober?
It happened after sobriety, actually.
Oh.
It was coming for a long time.
Okay.
And the thing about it is when you get out of, when I was in rehab, I was there for 60 days.
Second time or first time?
The second time.
Okay.
First time it was 30 days.
Okay.
And they were like, I just did whatever they told me to. And I know that it's a money-making thing and they're making money, but they were like, we think you should stay for 60. And I just said, then I will stay for 60, because this is not, I'm never going to go back to that life. I mean, I was I called somebody and said, take me to rehab. I wasn't like tricked into it.
Was there a moment that you remember sitting up and going, this shit has to end, or slow burn?
Over and over.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, like, over and over, as I'm like, just dropped my son off and had to pull over under a bridge to throw up because I'm so hungover from the night before, and like at drop off, like avoiding, like kind of having an 8-foot bubble where it's like, if anyone gets within 8 feet, they're going to smell that so it's like, hey, just kind of like really trying to stay away from people.
Oh God. I really, really relate. And then how long ago was that?
6 years. 6 years in October is when I got sober. So yeah, coming
Sober
up on
October.
7 years, and yep.
Congratulations.
Sober October for me, it was a reality.
Yeah, I used to do Sober October, and I was like counting down the days.
Would you make it?
The hour. Yeah, but at a midnight 01 on November 1st, I was hitting it without question. Yeah. I hated Sober October.
But you had to do it to prove to everyone that you're not an alcoholic.
Man, everyone knew I was a fucking alcoholic.
Yeah, but in your mind, you thought, I mean, I just remember, like, anytime I did try and, like, do something, it was to be like, yeah, I could do it, Yeah. I just don't want to do this.
I don't want to, yeah. By the way, I still don't really want to. Like, I know we are living a better life, and it is all it's all that and more, but all the slogans and more. But that said, I loved alcohol. I loved drinking. I loved that constant companion. I loved the not having to sit with myself, because I was always sitting with the alcohol and thinking about it. Anyway, which was the worst part, is that it took up so much time. That's my biggest regret, is how much time of my life I lost. Mm-hmm. But also, I think what's hard is being sober and with your feelings and with your thoughts and people without the screen of booze and things.
It's painful.
Right?
The amount of pain that I went through in the beginning of sobriety was, you just had to constantly say the only way out is through, and thank God I'm in the middle of something right now, because that means that there's an end to this. There has to be.
Hey, I'm Kat Greenleaf, and I want to tell you about Seraphim Social Beverage. This is a one-of-a-kind premium red blend crafted with 100% pure botanicals, chosen not only for flavor, but for function. It satisfies your desire for connection and indulgence while nourishing your body and your mind. It's complex enough to drink straight or throw it in a skinny mocktail. There's no sugar added, no preservatives, no artificial flavors or colors. Infused with the calming energy of amethyst crystals, real plants, elevated taste, wellness in every sip. What if the most interesting drink at the party wasn't alcohol?
I should be able to tell you what book it was or the author. I don't know.
The Bible, Jesus, God. Okay.
Yeah,
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it was God.
It's a New York Times
God said-
bestseller.
There's some book where a guy talked about pain and talked about running into pain, and it's like he talks about this running back, and he talks about like Texas football, and football's a big deal in Texas, and
I've heard.
and people like really care about high school football. It's a
Yeah.
big deal, and
I watch Friday Night Lights, I know.
oh yeah, yeah. And so there was a running back who was the best running back that had ever happened, and his whole thing is you give me the ball in the first play of the game, and I'm gonna run into the middle.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're there. I'm running into pain, because after that, everything else is the same or not as bad. And you know, there's the running backs that get the ball and they're like trying to get away from people, and this guy just said, I'm gonna run into it, because if I get it out of the way, then I'm gonna be able to do it over and over again, and it's not really that bad. I can get out of it, you know?
Yes.
Especially if I'm ready for it. Like if you're trying to avoid shit and then you get hit, that's where it hurts.
You're right.
You're like, oh God, I thought I was gonna get away from this one. But yeah, so I read that and I thought, I'm just gonna run into pain. Like I'm going to right now make any phone call. Like what's a phone call right now that's painful? Do.
Yeah.
All right, let's just get this fucking over with.
Really?
I know that there's people that hear you call and say things, and they have every right to either take it for what it is, to say, thank you, I love you, I never stopped loving you, I know you were going through it, or to be like, I appreciate it, man. Honestly, I'm not ready to hear it, you know?
Did you have a lot of that?
I've had them all, yeah. And I've had people that don't like me, you know, and I don't know why, actually. I actually don't know what I did. And that, there's one relationship specific that was a friend of mine that I don't know what happened. He just...
Because you don't remember, or you can't imagine that it all added up to him not liking you anymore?
I don't remember, and I don't know what it would have been. But I also, like, it's so funny, like, I really sat in this for a long time, and I tried texting him, and then finally I sent him a text that said, hey man, I just want to say I love you, and I hope someday we connect again.
How'd that go?
Nothing, no response.
No response. Maybe he changed his number.
No. He would have reached out. But then like 2 months ago, he liked an Instagram post. And I'm just like, what is going on here? And to me, this might be a wife that was like, I don't want you around this guy.
Yeah, yes. That
Yeah.
could be. It's so interesting that
so
there's got to be a reason. He's so likable.
bad.
Well, it's really wild that you're saying this, because I was recently back in LA where I had gone to high school and saw a friend, very similar situation. And I was like, well, for sure we're back, and sent a text being like, hey man, it's like no time has passed. So great. Dead air. He does not like me.
Yeah.
And it's not about, you must like me. Everyone must like me. Lots of people don't like me. But when it's someone close to you and they just stop liking you, or not just stop, but we obviously wrought something. It's a terrible feeling.
If you're going through life, I mean, which I have gone through, I think most of my life, trying to get everyone to like me.
Yeah.
Trying to be kind, trying to, you know, it's not going to work out.
No.
And it's not bad. And there's people that I don't like, that I don't like some people.
Right. But
just-
it's like, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
There's so many. There's 8.8 billion people on this planet. You're gonna like everyone? That's crazy. And now, in again over 40, do you still care as much if people like you?
No, I've started to accept that someone might not like me.
And how does that feel?
It's freeing.
Yes, right?
It feels very like I can. It feels like accepting, who you are, that you're this flawed kind of thing, and that. I mean, like I remember, like somebody said to me recently, I was talking to somebody and I was like, oh, do you know so and so? And they're like, yeah, and I was like, oh, what? And they go, well, and this is one of those situations where he rear-ended their cousin. Didn't even know it was this person's cousin that's kind of in our friend group.
Okay.
And apparently was a dick
Oh.
to the cousin. And so that got back to them that this guy that you kind of know was a prick. And so now they have a bad taste about that person because
It's situational.
it's like you were mean to the clerk at the grocery store.
Right. Well,
I remember one time somebody posted that, like somebody posted a photo of me or something, or I don't know what, and somehow a comment, and I don't really read comments often, but a comment came to my attention, was like, oh yeah, this guy used to come in and get breakfast at the Bright Spot every day, and he's not very nice.
but
And
also screw that
but
person. Why go out of your way?
Also, it's just not true because I am nice.
You seem very nice.
So I know that I might have been grumpy. I was probably hungover. Who knows?
Well, also,
Maybe I forgot a tip. Who knows?
maybe that guy wasn't a good server.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to go on and say I believe he wasn't.
I'm sure that that's what happened. But
You know who you are.
right, and also right, stop going out of your way to like talk about that someone wasn't nice. Social media can go very wrong.
It can go, oh, yeah.
I think that's a place. But I want to rewind for a second to this idea that, it sounds like you've made a bunch of amends, whether it was a step work or not. For the people who don't accept the amends, do you think they also don't accept that alcoholism or addiction at all is a disease? Because like if someone came to you and said, sorry, I'm a dick, I have cancer and the chemo just kicked in and I'm
Yeah.
really feeling jaggedy right now, you wouldn't be like, you're a dick.
No.
But when you're an alcoholic,
I would be like, I would give them like obviously a pass, like for a thing, like especially like that. I don't expect a pass for alcohol.
okay, this is fascinating. Why? You don't think of it as a disease?
No, I do.
Okay.
I
So?
just don't think that not everybody can be on the same page as me. Like not everybody has the same experience. Not everybody can believe what I believe, that it's not your fault. And I just like that really, I was like, oh, there's people that don't get that or that don't
Do you
know
get
that.
But do you get that? That it's not your fault? Do you think it's not your fault?
Yes, I understand that concept, and I would say that I do believe in it, and I would tell somebody that, and I could also say that I believe in God, but there are moments where I question it, and there are moments where I question that I am a flawed piece of shit, that like actually it's my problem.
Right.
And then there's moments where I realize, no, the brain and the chemistry and the this and all of the things in my and I'm not blaming a person or a thing, but
I live the same life.
Yeah.
The exact same way.
yeah, I mean, you catch me alone, I might question whether green is green.
It's not green.
I don't know. The green is a problem for me. We had my son's drawers in his room when he was a baby. One time, like after we'd had him for like 3 years and it was in his room, I said to somebody, they were like, oh, I left it in your son's room. And I said, oh, on the green dresser. And my wife turned around and was like, it's black. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's like a forest green. And then everyone that came into the house had to confirm that it's black.
Uh-oh.
And I somehow see green when I don't know if something's really black, I see a green in it. Money. I see money.
Money everywhere.
Yeah. But I definitely, I'll question anything. And I really understood the okayness of that with God. Like when somebody that I really trusted and like looked up to talked about faith and what that means. And like without, there is no faith if there's not such a thing as no faith, right? Like
Correct.
it's like this thing, and that's not I'm not like trying to sound deep or whatever, but It's like this Townes Van Zandt lyric where it's like, there ain't no dark until something shines. And it's like, I have to feel that side, and I have to doubt so that when I don't doubt, it really is there.
I know precisely what you mean. And in fact, I wanted to ask you about it. You said that the first time you got sober, you found God and you were all about it. So now, 12 years later, you go back to the rough ways of living. What happened to your relationship with God during that time?
You know, with God, it definitely. I think that I knew. I never believed that there was. I never thought there was no God. I never looked at myself in the mirror and thought, you're not an alcoholic. You know, like I knew it was all there. And because I'd been to rehab and because I'd been involved in the program at AA, I always knew that there was something waiting for me. That wherever I was, there was a room full of people not too far from me that would accept me and with open arms, and I could be there. And that whether that was with church or with
Even while you were drinking?
AA, yeah. That was the only thing. Now, when I do talk to people about what it's like to relapse and kind of being aware of sobriety if you're drinking again, is not everybody makes it back.
Yep.
And that's not like people like live a long life drinking. That's like a lot of people die.
Yep.
And I'm lucky I made it back. And I actually was kind of living, at some point I was definitely living with an awareness that I was very close to death. And was just kind of like, let's just get it over with. Just because it's stressful being so close to it.
Yeah.
and actually recovering from it seems pretty hard.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if I was ready for that. I didn't know. I thought maybe I could just succumb to it.
And then you didn't.
Thank God, yeah.
Do you thank God? Do you think it was God that saved you? Because, in the rooms of AA, a lot of people say God swooped in and saved me for a purpose, or
Yeah.
do you feel that?
Yeah. It was, for me, it was like it was through the possibility of getting a parking ticket.
What?
Because I called somebody and said like I need, but before I called somebody and said that I needed help, I went and drove my car to a canyon in Los Angeles, in like Malibu area, and basically walked into the canyon and left my car in an illegal parking spot on some like canyon road. And,
So LA.
and just thought that I wasn't going to make it back, and had a bottle with me, and I had just came from the doctor actually and found out just how bad it was. And and then I thought, well, God, if I decide to go back, I might have a parking ticket. And I don't want to so I might as well just go back now so I don't get a parking ticket. It was kind of like this thought, and I know that I was looking for something to save. I was looking for a really great reason to not tell myself that I was weak. You do want life. You don't need to go down in a burning flame. You don't need, you can do this kind of a thing. And it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of shit you got to handle.
Do you feel, so you're 6 years.
And when I went to rehab, by the way, they said that my insurance covered it, but it didn't. But they were told, I think my wife said, just tell them insurance is paying for it.
Just to get you in there.
Just to make sure I did it.
Did you have to, was it like a grip? Did you have to pay so much? Ridiculous?
Yeah.
That is one of the amazing things about AA. And, people feel different ways about it. I feel different ways about it. But it's free. And, thank God, right?
Yeah. And if unfortunately for me, I wouldn't have lived going to AA. I had to go to a hospital.
Really?
Because when I got into rehab, they tried to keep me alive for a couple days by giving me, because there's nurses in there and they're evening you out. Because I was taking benzos and drinking, which are the two things that'll kill you if you just stop. If you're
Wait, so you got to do drugs in rehab?
Well, they were giving me Ativan.
I should have gone to rehab. That's awesome.
Well, they give people that to coming down from major detoxing, and so I started having delirium, tremors. I mean, I was I was having full conversations in the backyard of this rehab with nobody.
Nobody.
There's a dog there I thought that was there that wasn't there. I was talking on a TV remote thinking it was a phone. I mean, and they were basically watching me. And I know somebody that came in the day that I came into rehab. She was really young. She's like 17, and I see her in meetings still. And she was like, it was wild because everybody there was kind of following you around.
To make sure you didn't.
Yeah, and they were like, don't tell them that that's not a phone, like, and so then in the middle of the night, they found me naked, like in the backyard of the rehab, seizuring. And so they rushed me to the hospital because at that point they weren't equipped to keep me comfortable and alive.
Yeah.
And then I woke up days and days later in a hospital. And all I really remember, and it's so weird that this moment is a memory because I can see it, was, well, because when my arm was all bruised up and they were like, yeah, they couldn't get an IV into you. And what I remember is that when I was getting rolled down the hallway and I could see the ceiling and a doctor, I don't remember getting to the hospital, but I was like somehow awake. And I bet it was because they were like, he goes, Nick, I'm so sorry, Mr. Thune or whatever, you're strapped down because you've been combative. We're trying to save your life. And then it was just like I was out.
Oh my God.
And I mean, like, I guess I did. I punched somebody and I did some shit. And I don't know, like I was trying.
Talk about amends.
Fighting.
Did you find them?
Oh yeah, they were. I mean, it was funny because it was like the hospital was so empty too. Because when I woke up, like eventually it was like walking around with a, like holding my IV, like as if I was like a. Right, like. Like a real, like sick patient or something. But there was like, everybody was just like.
Kind of were, no?
There were like desks and people were like. Oh God! And it was like the backs open.
Right.
But when they were like, okay, they're gonna take me back to rehab, I was like, where's my clothes? And they're like, oh, your wife came and picked them up, and because they didn't want me to know that I had come in naked because they were because I was asking about clothes over and over again, and I was very concerned about my clothes. I guess like what happened to my
You're a fashion plate.
And they were like, hey, just tell him that his clothes are fine.
Wow.
Or else he's going to be even more confused.
I love that you were thinking about your drip, while you're in there instead of about.
I remember the outfit I showed up with. And I do remember the guy.
Your birthday suit.
No, the outfit that I walked into rehab with, I was wearing like a really great, like a brim hat with like a black, like leather jacket and like black pants. And I remember the guy goes, look at this Luke Skywalker looking motherfucker. Like the security guard said that. I was like, oh, man. Like, I was like, I don't know if this is Luke Skywalker.
Right. So I wasn't really going for that.
But I blew a 3.7. Yeah.
Fucking go big or go home.
And was just having great conversation. They were like, yeah, you seem so normal and likable. And like.
Do people still think you're normal and likable now that you don't drink?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely different. I'm also older.
Yes.
But I also don't need to go places and I don't need to be seen and I don't like. I think there was a version of me that like would be like, oh, I'll go and have a drink and then like run into somebody or like have a thing and be involved in a party. And I just could care less now.
Right. And I agree with you that age is a real gift. If we alcoholics are lucky enough to mature into our later ages, you just lose some of that urge to be the center of it all. Now the center of it all is home, is doing work I love.
Yeah, I have fear of missing out of my couch.
Yes.
I'm like, God, I hope my couch is okay right now.
Yeah, right. You better get back to it.
I've looked at dogs before and been like, you lucky piece of shit.
Yes.
You just get to do this all day.
I think that all the time. Everyone just loves you and tells you you're a great boy.
Yeah, and then we leave and you're like, huh? Where do you go? We don't know what you do.
Right, you lick your balls, whatever. You will look out the window.
I do love it when people have cameras at their house and they're like checking on their.
Right. We're doing nothing. They're sleeping. They're absolutely sleeping.
I had came back and I seen him and he looked kind of crazy and I was telling him, I was like, I hope you didn't mess with those pills because this is when the fentanyl was first coming out in the pills and I knew, how crazy that was. Unfortunately, I left and I came back and I found my father dead.
The belief that because I am Black, because I am a woman, that I would risk my health and everything that was sacrificed for me. Someone had to die for me to live. Why on earth would I abuse drugs if I knew it would have such detrimental effects.
I kind of like being black. 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 I kind of like if I had to do it all over again, I'd still be black.
Hey, if you haven't yet, check out our episode on race and recovery. It's a Soberness Story Hour live. We recorded it in front of an audience right there at the Algonquin Hotel. So you're a comedian, and the thing about sobriety, it's not like that funny. You know, like, here's what I'm basing it on. So I'm new to social media, but because of this show, I really dislike it.
Mm-hmm.
But because of this show, we do it, right? We want to grow the show. We want to spread the word. We're doing this show for a reason. We want to spread the word about sobriety, whatever that means to you. But funny shit does well on the socials, and it's hard to be funny, I feel, about this topic. As a comedian, I assume you draw on your own life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you make it funny? It sounds like say something funny now. I don't mean that.
No,
I just
no,
mean,
right.
you know, where do you find the humor in all of this debasement and destruction?
I don't really talk about this in my not because I'm hiding it, because I'm not afraid to talk about
It's
it.
not funny.
No, but I really am like a person. The humor that I really love is not in reality. It's not like I like Steve Martin. I like people that are taking me out of something.
This, yeah.
And I love people that tell stories of their life, and I love really like comedians that can talk about current events and do it really well. I don't have that bone in me. I mean, I could maybe do it, but I don't have the drive to, and I think it's great some other people do. But I really like to just be silly. And I think the best response anybody could ever give a joke that I tell on stage is to like be laughing and turning to the person next to him and be like ashamed that you're laughing. Like that was so stupid.
Awesome.
Like, how did he trick me into laughing at that? And
That's the gift.
That's what I like. But I when I was in rehab, they took me to do shows at the Improv because I was so scared that I wasn't going to be able to go on stage anymore.
Yeah.
Or I didn't know what was going to happen, and so they had nurses like take me to a comedy club
And got your muscles.
Yeah. And I remember like I wrote a joke in rehab, and I did it on stage, and it worked, and I thought, okay, so this is like a good beginning to me coming back. And I also just need to kind of come back and refine myself and know that the fear is gone, actually, because when you have a job,
The fear of not being funny, or the fear
no,
of...
the fear of not being able to make it off stage. You know, like, because there is no way to like temper how drunk or high you are. And at some point, you're going to get into some problems. You're going to be too drunk on stage. You're going to vomit while you're on stage.
Yeah.
You're going to, your energy's not going to be up. You're going to you're going to be hungover. You're going to, all these things. And that's a lot to worry about.
Yes, it is.
It has nothing to do with my actual job. So
Right.
I'm in the midst of creating all these things that are making my job harder when it's already a pretty hard job.
Dude.
Not for me, but like it's not like I'm an expert. Like it's just what I like to do. I know how to do it. But I think it's the hard parts of the job are the hard parts of anyone else's job. The hard parts are being on, being professional, being on time, showing people that you're working hard, that you're respecting their time.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is that was so disrespectful to audiences for me to go in there drunk.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad until it got bad. And luckily I got sober before it really exploded on stage. Thank God.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Right? Thank God. Because how do you come back from that, even if you're given the chance? The shame of it all. The public.
Oh, I had
shame of it all.
I had shame. I actually did a whole like art kind of painting series called In Need of Shame, because I for a long time, well, I felt a lot of shame. I felt a lot of shame my whole life. I was like kind of taught to be shameful when I was young. And so
What?
yeah, just like sexually and all this stuff. Like it was like I wasn't allowed to do. I was like, it was church. It was like this church thing, and And like, we're not going to teach you about safe sex because we want you to learn about abstinence
Right.
and saving for marriage. So we're not going to tell you what to do because we want you to get chlamydia when you're 17.
Right. That's
You
the
know.
goal, isn't it?
Yeah. So
At your confirmation, right? You get like a Bible, a
yeah,
crucifix.
no, we actually
and-
want you to get STDs. 'Cause
Yes.
we know that you're going to. And with your track record, we're definitely not going to. Since I've been, you've been like stealing things from grocery stores. You're definitely going to be having sex.
Right. It sounds a lot like chlamydia.
Yeah, yeah, but that the shame. So, but in need of shame, like I do like, not that I feel like deserve shame or I need it, but like being able to see shame. You know, the idea of being shameless.
Yeah.
I don't want to be shameless. I want to be able to see shame a little bit and
Is it
like,
guardrails?
Yeah.
Right. I will feel ashamed if I do this terrible thing, so maybe I shouldn't do it.
Yeah, and I feel shame at the grocery store. Like an old woman will be like, "Can you reach that cereal for me?" And I'll say, "Do it yourself."
But you should be ashamed of
And I
that.
feel ashamed afterwards.
I thought I was the only one who did that.
No, that's maybe one of the best moments. That happens maybe like two times a year at a grocery store.
Right. Get
Excuse
yourself-
me, could you get that for me?
Listen, I feel like I could talk to you all day. I really appreciate your honesty. And again, to talk to somebody who operated through the world of using the way I did is oddly comforting. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Been very nice. So mind if I promote my website? I was going to say arby's.com. I mean, you pretty much could just Google my name. No, there's no other Nick Thunes.
Yafet Koto?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
So yeah, nickthune.com / Gmail.
That's
.org.
all right. Awesome. Now I'm going to walk here and you're going to look at that camera and say who you are and check out your episode on Soberness with Cat Greenleaf. Not .com, with Cat Greenleaf only.
Okay.
I'm not .com.
Hello, my name is Nick Thune, and I really hope that you can check out my episode of
It's called Soberness. The show's
Soberness.
called Soberness
With
with Cat
Cat.
Greenleaf. I'm Cat Greenleaf and he's Nick Thune.
Take 2.
The show's called Soberness.
Hey, my name's Nick Thune. Please watch Soberness with Cat Greenleaf. That's actually, I'm not Cat, so I don't want you guys to get excited. I am a guest of hers, and is that what you do? Is that your right pronoun for you?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. Watch him on my show. Thanks. Bye. That does it for another episode of Soberness. Thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, we love making this show for you, but now we need you to do something for us, please. See that subscribe button? Hit it. So hit it. Just hit the subscribe button. But I'll wait. You hit it? Yeah, good. Now go around your house, get your mother, your dad, your cousin, the babysitter. I want everybody. We just need you to subscribe. We're so grateful. Thank you so much.